Okay, T10, what for every discussion that we have?
20.
Right, okay. So let me show you what I've built so far, okay? This is how powerful you can get if you know your shit, okay? So this is just a Thea journal, okay? And this is our product owner now, T10, okay? So everything that we need is basically been described, documented, and archived into this notebook, okay? So a few minutes ago, I was speaking with Bayou, and this is the layout, gentlemen, okay? So the layout of what we're trying to do is this, okay? Titan, you are the product researcher, all right? So basically, your job is to do this. Your job on an MSM is to figure out how much churn you can prevent, okay? Let's say you can stop 100,000 of churn, all right? Your plan would be, all right, what behaviors you've identified that late responses or unresponded WhatsApp is responsible for, let's say, example, 100,000 of churn, okay? The trigger point is usually a late follow-up, okay? Current engagement is using, let's say, BBGo newsletter. Your revised engagement might be an action card, half described on WhatsApp to revert back to BBGo, okay? And then your result actually would be, let's say from Furcon, would be approved by Furcon as notable change in behavior, okay? And we notice that engagement levels rise on action feed. Okay, that would just be an example, all right? Let's say the behavior you're trying to change is to get people off of using WhatsApp into BBGo. So this would be part of the design, okay, of what you're trying to do. And your research is to try to determine how much impact that behavior would actually cause, okay? So if we're able to change that behavior, can we reduce churn? All right. Now, here's my hypothesis, gentlemen. All right. So what happens is basically this. The partner is engaged, and when they stop engaging, that's when they churn. Correct? They trust you, they engage, and when they stop engaging, they are going to churn. If they're deeply engaged, they're not going to churn because they're waiting to see what happens next, okay? They are anticipating something to do. They're the employee engagement survey is usually also a predictor of employee churn, okay? Same with partner engagement as well. Okay, so the name of the game is to keep them engaged. All right, so how are we going to do that? So we're going to not reinvent the wheel. We're going to probably do this. Okay, Teton, have you seen the key newsletter triggers already?
I know, I knew it before.
Okay, good.
Documentation.
Correct. The improvement that we need to have on these newsletter triggers are actually a few things. We need to know what is the estimated impact, okay? So if we're able to trigger and get engagement on this, what's the estimated impact? And how well is it engaging? And what's the expected behavior you want, okay? So this is okay. Oh, this is already there, right? So expected impact, input knowledge, there's some stuff over there already, okay? Now, let's go back to how we're going to design this. So this design is pretty simple, okay? So as a product researcher, your main goal is to create this trigger list, okay? And tell us what exactly is on the trigger list and what exactly do you want to change in terms of behavior and how those changes in behavior are likely to affect churn, okay? So that's kind of like the main bulk of it. From that, basically, there's going to be a behavior change list. For Con, we'll give you some advice, okay? He'll say that these are the behaviors that I constantly find frustrating with partners, all right? And that needs to change. I will serve as the game designer here, okay? So my job is to figure out what is the actual game in this sense to change the behavior, okay? So what is on the card? What's the consequence? What's the icon? what's the choice and decision that the partner needs to make, okay? I will think about the gameplay and how to get that done, all right? We will create an AI artist most likely, okay, but probably just a normal graphic artist at the time to represent the visual representation. I'm sure you guys have been seeing some of the AI images that I've been generating earlier in Project Theia and how they're enhanced now to be more dramatic or more whatever, okay? But basically, the AI graphic artist will take feedback from a model builder, all right? So a model builder is the entity that is building user persona models, okay? So let's say, for example, we find out from the model builder that this person likes more spicy, more engaging, more dramatic visual content, okay? So then that will send a signal back over to the graphic artist that your last graphic was not dramatic enough, it needs to be more whatever, and we will fix it, okay? So basically, failed engagement goes back to the graphic artist for resulting in a new graphic, a new expression, such that the card will be designed in a way that is more enticing, okay? Now, failed gameplay means this. Failed gameplay means we have changed the behavior. That's all good. They've engaged with it, but they still churn, okay? So that means that that behavior was not the underlying reason for the churn to happen, okay? So even if we change the behavior, still churn means that you didn't really fix the game, okay? So that means the game needs to be fixed. The engagement means that the design needs to be fixed, okay? So we need to separate those two parts from each other, okay? Now, here's an easy way to understand it, gentlemen. I just went over here, I took a screenshot of that, I put it into Gemini, and I asked it to recreate a flow for me that's more understandable, and bingo. Okay, that's it now. Now you guys can see it, right? So we were able to take the schematic that I just drew, put it into the graphic artist, okay, and generate a fairly detailed graphic artist based on that. Okay? Makes sense, yeah? So far, are you with me? Okay, pretty clear to understand. Now, here's what we're going to do. So the next step is this. This is a table that I have Reza work on, okay? So Reza and his team, now with Kyla and Ghani, are doing this. So every day, since the beginning, they will add a new responsibility to the AI that they are building, okay? Or to whatever that they discover. So the process of iterating as an AI engineer now, Artie, is to find out what part of the workflow or process is incomplete, what part has not been fully described, and who needs to do what, okay? Now, remember here in this particular diagram, there are human delegates right now, there are AI agents, and there are also human delegates right now, okay? Right now, there's an abundance of human delegates because we are on the first cycle of this, so we need to kind of like get some experience and understand what it is that we're doing, okay? Over time, Chetan, this can probably also be automated. Your current job in the Thea development can probably be automated, and so can this model builder can also probably be automated too as well, all right? So the model builder will take feedback from the card engagement and then redraw and remodel again the user persona until there is a strong correlation between the predicted engagement and then the actual engagement, okay? So let's say the predicted engagement is this. The predicted engagement is we send Patwira that card, okay, right? I think we're working on that right now, right? Artie? The predicted engagement is we send Artie that card and he responds in 3 hours or within 24 hours, okay? And then we see the actual engagement is he didn't respond at all. So then the model is probably incorrect, the Patwira. So then we probably need to redefine the model. And the model might show that Patwira doesn't like complicated design. He prefers something more simple, okay? Or maybe the reverse sometimes also, Tita. Maybe they're okay with complicated design and they like a lot of detail, all right? So then we need to remodel who Patwira is, okay, until we get a pretty good fit, okay? So each time we predict what Potware will do on the model, and then we see what he actually does. If he doesn't engage, we go back and we change the model, okay, based on the non-engagement, and we ask it to remodel it, okay? So remember, each user is generating a stream of data, all right? They're generating a stream of data about their engagement and their relationship with us, okay? So each time they come back to either engage on BVGo, or they do this, or they choose this, or whatever, they are giving us a clue about how to model them, correct? So basically, over time, we should build a stronger and stronger model. When that model is perfect, we will have a high amount of engagement before we even send it out. We will know how to design using the correct gameplay and the correct graphic art to trigger a behavioral change, okay? So that's the idea, all right? I think it's very doable. I think it's also, like right now, right? You guys can already see the exact translation of the concept into a graphic that's lower cognitive load, easy to understand, just by my explanation here, okay? All right, so does that make sense, gentlemen, on what we're trying to do? So basically, this is it, right? Titan, you will write into the current project directory that you have for what to do next, okay? I will take a look and think about how to be the game master, the game designer here, okay? And Ion right now is actually a nervous system, okay? Ion doesn't have a brain. So the brain is going to be the model builder, and the engagement between the model builder and the product researcher then becomes the brain for Ion. Ion currently is like a nervous system. It senses something and then it triggers. It senses something and triggers. It does not think. It does not understand, and it does not test out its ideas against a actual counterparty, okay? That's why it's always tone deaf. Because, yeah, if I say this and you always say that, then that's what exactly it sounds like. It sounds like a nervous system. You're just reacting, okay? So what we're building right now is not a nervous system. We're building a brain, okay? So this engagement between these negative cycles and the positive cycles then becomes essentially learning, memory, and a brain for Ion, okay? So Ion will then be able to recreate this really well. All right, there's a lot of stuff that's already been built. I'm not sure if you guys already know it, but there's already these knowledge sources and Thea knowledge and all this stuff here. So I've checked it out with Bayou, and he says that a lot of the things that we've done so far is concurrent with the previous design. So we're not fighting against the previous design. We're building on top of the previous design, so that part is good, okay? Now, I've already automated a great deal of my work as a game designer because that's what I'm doing right now with you guys, right? So each time I explain something, I put it into the notebook, and then that notebook right now starts becoming how the interpretation of the game should be, okay? So basically what that means is each time I have an idea, okay, then like right now what's happening is I take the cards that Hafiz wants to do, I put it into Gemini to explain what it is. I take the explanation from, actually, sorry. I take it into ChatGPT and I ask it to interpret it. It interprets it into a file for me, and then I can apply it to the notebook, okay? The notebook then looks at it, analyzes if the behavior and the design, at least the behavior signal is correct, and gives recommendations on if I understood the behavior correctly, okay? Now, this is not fully connected yet because it's not connected to Potware's model, but it's already pretty good, okay? It's already saying that you're missing this behavior. You haven't asked the behavior that you want yet, and so that's that, okay? All right, anyways, Artie, your job right now is just to get more experience in understanding all the different cycles in which to do this. The really only way for us to succeed, gentlemen, is to go through more of these cycles over and over again, okay? And then we will start finding out, all right, you know what? This part of the product researcher work can be automated, okay? Already make it happen, all right? This part of the graphic artist is not getting a clear prompt package. That needs to be automated using this. Then we can start building and designing these things, okay? But we do need to get more experience to test out if this workflow is going to work, okay? So this is the new Thea. This is the new plan for Thea. Do you guys have any questions at this point?
Sir,
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I agree with the concept digital production reduction flow.
Yeah.
And I have been doing it for 1 day or 2 days maybe, but maybe you can take a look a little bit from what I do and
Okay, great.
yeah,
I will serve as a game designer, right? And so here's the thing that we need to start having expectations about, gentlemen, okay? Whenever you're doing something and you're trying to, let's say, get a particular result, I would suggest this first, okay? Build your counter agent, okay? And then test your design out with your counter agent each time. You can use NotebookLM to gather the history, identity, and all the facts about any user. You can go on NotebookLM and just put in their Instagram profile. Notebook will scan through and read their Instagram profile, their LinkedIn, all these different sources, okay? And then you just go back and forth, okay, and say, would this person respond to this message, and how would they actually understand it, okay? So what I would do, Artie, is to take this notebook, this one that I have right here, which I will share to you, okay, and you can log in using the Book It Vista account so that you have access to this, okay? But here's the link. I'm going to drop it right now into Discord, and you can test that out, okay? Now, the reason I'm doing this is because right now I'm the game designer, but I'm already here. You understand? I'm always with you because my knowledge is already in this document, okay? My knowledge is already there. So you don't need to find me in real life and ask me this, okay? You can just find me in my notebook and ask me, is this something that would work based on previous discussions we would have, right? And it would tell you. And 90% of the time, Artie, it's answering exactly in accordance to what we've talked about before. So this serves as my digital presence, okay? So just use that, okay? I want you to use that because I want to actually make the game designer also automated T10, okay? I want to create an AI thing. So then just pretend it's working, Artie. Pretend it's already perfect, okay? And also exercise your own common sense, okay? If it says something that you go, hey, that could never work, then just say, I don't believe you, give me another iteration, okay? Until it starts making more sense, all right? So don't talk to me, talk to my AI game manager, okay? My AI game designer, and T10, through each discussion that we have, through each resource that we bring back in, that's how we automate the game designer, okay? Once we have been able to create an effective prototype on NotebookLM, then we just capture all the sources and figure out a way to productionize it, okay? Because it's the information sources that actually create the understanding that we actually need, Artie, okay? So don't talk to me, talk to this, okay? And when this is perfect, then I don't, yeah, okay. So not because I don't want to talk to you, Artie. I would love to talk to you all day long, okay? But we're trying to test also the AI game designer as well, okay? So we don't know if it's any good if you don't use it, okay? So use it, and then talk to me if it says something stupid, okay? Say, why is it saying this weird thing? And then I can take a look at that, okay? All right, now there's a limitation, Artie. The NotebookLM cannot see images. So you're going to have to turn whatever you're doing back into text again, like the way I just showed you, right? It's going to have to be packaged like this. Do you see the highlighted area? It's basically turning this into a text schematic, okay? And that's fine, all right? That's fine because the notebook will understand the behavior, and that's the ultimate job of the game designer, remember, is to check if you are actually asking for the correct choices and consequences to shape behavior, okay? So the graphic artist is just, let's say, in that case, irrelevant if you want to talk to the game designer, okay? All right, so that's basically it, all right? Good question, Artie. So talk to the game designer. The link is on the Discord chat. And, okay, Titan, I will refine this. This is a reduced version of what we normally do, okay? I'm hoping to make the data more compact, and it's great. It's great. It's literally remembering all our past conversations. And as long as I don't say any inconsistent shit, okay, then it just starts getting more and more refined each time we talk. All right? Okay, so this notebook is a pretty good game designer. Okay, all right, that's it. Let's see. Yes, Titan, do you have any questions?
Yes, sir. Just for clarity, I want to confirm. In that image you have shared before,
This one.
in the list of product researcher, then in the red arrow, failed gameplay and failed engagement, is it defined by the product researcher or?
I think so. Yes. Yes. So you should define it. Okay. Here's the way to know if the failed engagement happened. You should have a minimum expectation of response time to a action. Okay. There should be a minimum like a game, right? If the player doesn't respond to whatever, what happens? Like, okay, it's Super Mario Brothers, guys, right? If Super Mario Brothers, you don't move. If you don't move in the first few seconds, right, what happens? Okay, like in this game, if you don't move, then that guy will kill you, right? So that will make you understand you need to move, all right? So the same thing, if you send an action and the player doesn't move, what happens, right? They should die, right? They should see some points go down. They should see some consequence as a result of non-action. You get it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's game design, okay? So that's how you know. There's a time limit to expect engagement from the user before it's a null or a failed action, okay? And then you need to redesign it. So you need to call for more urgency somehow, right? You need to increase the drama factor, increase the urgency factor so that they come back, okay? So you are creating anxiety all the time. And as long as now the partner is anxious because you're leading them with anxiety, we win, okay? Instead of us feeling anxious all the time, they're feeling anxious because there's some notification that they need to see, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great.
Thank you for the-
Okay, so you should have a time limit on understanding if the engagement has actually failed, okay? And if time limit has been exceeded, then you need to think about how to get that behavior so that they engage within the time limit, all right? And what kind of message do you want to say, okay? It changes the way we communicate, okay? Right now we're like, oh, we recommend you do this and we recommend you do that. There's no consequence, you see? It's like, do this before this time or shit happens, right? And you just got to figure out what shit happens means, okay? So just bring it up to my game designer and say, what could be a consequence that would motivate this person to take action within the next 24 hours based on this report? Okay? All right, you get it. You get it. Okay, so does that make sense, gentlemen? Okay, that is ultimately next time your job, Titan. Okay, this is what it's mean to call vision. Okay? Vision means you think about it, you think about it, you think about it, and eventually, it's clear, right? Like this is what needs to happen. This is the right flow, okay? Now I know we're a little bit of distance away from that today, okay? But eventually, just stick with me. I'll teach you how to have vision, okay? And you can start envisioning things, and then it's fun, right? Because it's pretty quick to go from vision to a prototype to production now, okay? All right, that's it. So I'll conclude the video. Any other questions?
So,
Yes.
so the card design will be in the loop feedback from
Yes.
the persona, yes,
Yeah.
and the loop feedback from the real data engagement.
Yes, yes, correct. So if the card design is just being used against the actual person already, what always happens is disappointment. And it's normal, right? If you
Yes.
don't test your code before you put it in front of a user, it's not a good experience, right? And it's kind of stupid. It's actually a brainless way of testing out an idea. So if you build the persona, guess what? Each time you're also building memory about how the creation agent, okay, in this case, the game designer and the AI agent for graphic art, you're training them on how they need to understand the counterparty, okay? So they create, they test against the counterparty. If the counterparty says approve, and then the real life partner says approve, that's a good model, right? That's a strong fit between the prediction and the reality. If the if the counterparty says yes and the reality says no, or there's a failed engagement, if you thought they would engage and actually they never engaged at all, that fails. So that requires a reworking of the model or a reworking of the process, okay? Now, this might be action, this might be a phone call, this might be a WhatsApp too, okay? We might need to just call people on, let's say if they're not engaged, and say, you have some urgent news right now. Pick up your BV Go and check it out. Otherwise, there's going to be a loss of points, okay? We might find that that might be also a type of action, okay? Not just the newsletter actions, another type of action we might need to take in order to get them into the game, okay? So we use all tools possible in order to get the people in the game. And when they're in the game and they're playing it, then it's great, okay? Now we don't need to use the high potency actions, okay? So yes, if you don't test it out, you will always have an open loop. And that's been our problem already since the beginning. We have an open loop. We don't really know our partners that well, right? Even though we have their data. Even though we have their data. It's kind of stupid, right? We have their data, we can make their persona, but we always don't know, okay? And that's just retarded. That's really poor judgment at this point. So now we can know, okay? So over time, the magic is this, gentlemen. The magic is actually the counterparty agent. When you have the counterparty agent, then you have a lifetime customer because you can always predict what this person will do before they actually do it, okay? That's probably what Instagram uses. That's probably what Facebook has, gentlemen. They have a counterparty agent of you guys on the other side, and that way they know how to recommend content so that you are always hopelessly addicted to it, right? It's because they've already tested with your avatar probably a million times. And so they know that when they actually serve you the actual experience, you're engaged and if you don't, then they will rewrite your avatar until they get a fairly accurate representation of you. Okay? All right, so that's the idea. Let's give it a shot. The model builder can be automated too at some point, Artie. It can be instantiated. I think that's probably the first place I would begin as an engineer, right? You just model everyone and start seeing how that works. Okay. Clear? This is the clearest I can make it. Okay, good. All right. I'll let you guys carry on over the weekend. I'm not going to be here. Okay, I'm going to be, kind of hanging out with the family over there. But see if you can make some substantial progress on anything, okay? Get daily experience from FurCon, from the people in operations, because you need to build some intuition in your fingertips, okay? Knowing the big plan is great, okay? We will start on that side as well. But also you need daily experience so that you can kind of understand how the actual bottom flow. So it's not building one way, it's building from both sides. Your experience will give us also better on our planning. Because sometimes this plan will get revised over time, all right? It's not final. And we might find, we cannot model people perfectly. We need something else, okay? So that's why we do this. Okay, that's it, gentlemen. Clear? Yes? Good? All right. I believe you guys will succeed. We got this to work with Reza in a very short amount of time. Now he's able to actually quite successfully bring in the sales, all right? But I think this is a shield, okay? So this will defend our churn, and then, this is also cool technology to work with. All right, see you guys. Okay, cool. All right, great. See ya.